Welcome to Poland in the heart of Europe. It's home to a population of fiercely patriotic people. But during 4 decades of communist rule, there was little incentive to work hard in the vast state enterprises which dominated this country. An attitude summed up in a famous local saying, whether you stand up or sit down, you will still get paid. So is democracy delivering a sense of entrepreneurial freedom here? We'll be finding out through the working lives of 6 very different individuals and hearing about their aspirations for the future. The medieval city of Krakow is Poland's second largest city and was the country's capital until the beginning of the 17th century. Located in the south of the country, it's now home to 750,000 people. But I'm getting away from the well-worn tourist route to meet someone who works in a very different part of the city. Communism has really left its mark on this area, not least the state of the roads. I'm now off to a place synonymous with the Soviet era, Krakow's easternmost district. Purpose-built for heavy industry, Nowa Huta was the socialist ideal. Factories sprung up alongside stark blocks of flats to house the industrial workers. In 1954, the area's centrepiece, the Vladimir Lenin Steelworks, opened. But what was once deemed as a beacon of Soviet success eventually became its downfall. In the 1980s, Nowa Huta was the scene of demonstrations calling for the fall of communism. In the late 1970s, this vast plant employed over 38,000 people, producing 6.5 million tonnes of steel. It's now home to the most modern hot strip mill in Europe. Ryszard WILK is a process engineer at this plant, which is now owned by the international conglomerate ArcelorMittal. He joined the company straight from university 5 years ago and says this is his dream job.
Tutaj praca na walcowni gorącej, gdzie jesteśmy.
It's a very modern steelworks, and working alongside such new technology is really interesting. There are lots of things to do programming these machines. This steel plant was opened in the 50s. As for the modernisation process, I say it's like walking out of a Stone Age cave onto the streets of Manhattan in New York.
Ryszard's 8-hour shift starts at 7 in the morning. Workers here earn approximately $1,200 a month. That's higher than the national average, which is around $1,000.
My work is based on ensuring the rolled steel is meeting the required quality. So checking the thickness, the width, quality and temperature is my responsibility. Of course, everything is computerised, but if something is not as it should be, then it's up to me to work out what's gone wrong and fix it. When I am on the shop floor, I check how the metal is behaving, if it's going in a straight line or curving or is bent. I mainly work at a computer analysing the data. It's good if the process goes without a hitch, but for me personally, I like it when something happens. Then the work becomes challenging and I have to quickly find the cause of the problem.
After a day working with heavy metal, Ryszard's busy social life is taken up with his other passion, rock music, playing bass guitar in 2 bands.
Od 7 do 15 zajmuję się pracą zawodową.
For me, the best way to relax is by playing and writing music. We play at different parties and nightclubs. It's real party music, so people have a good time. Music is my hobby. I do approach it professionally, but it's just a hobby. My job is the means by which I can support myself. The music comes after work.
Coś wspólnego z muzyką.
So what do you spend your money on? Do you spend it on any luxuries?
Tak, i nawet staram
I try to
się,
put money aside so that in future I will be able to stop renting and buy my own place. I know my friends abroad get paid a lot more doing the same type of job. I don't earn the sort of money that would enable me to go on holiday abroad or skiing in Austria, for example.
So what are your ambitions? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Work at the steelworks is a calling of sorts for me because I get to work with the latest technology. It's a global company, so there are lots of opportunities to move around without leaving the company. Privately, I think I'll always be connected to Krakow, and I would like to continue to play music here. Playing music with your friends is an excellent way to get over the working day.
From an industry embracing the changing face of Poland, we're heading into the countryside where farmers are struggling to maintain a way of life that has always been at the very heart of this country. Over 60% of Poland's total land is agricultural, and the farms tend to be relatively small, like this one, no bigger than 7 hectares. They're largely family-run businesses, and even in communist times they were predominantly privately run. The state did have a big say in how the farms were run, but it meant that farmers were largely self-sufficient. Small farms are struggling to meet the increased regulations which came when Poland joined the European Union in 2004. Many came under pressure to sell up to large companies, but our next worker, JADWIGA ŁOPATA, is passionate about the benefits of staying small.
Dziękuję za panią. Dziękujemy.
Once a high-flying IT consultant, JADWIGA turned her back on city life to return to her roots.
This is very small farms. It's I have this 15 years. It's my own. It's next to my home village, village where I am now living, and we produce here vegetable, fruits, and we have a very small number of animals. Basic reason is to have compost. What we are getting from the farm is basically for self-sufficiency. 65% food we have for ourselves and for our guests which are visiting us, because we are running also ecotourism here, and then that's my income. I sell very little extra. For me, it's more important this aspect of to be self-sufficient for myself and for the guests. And that's why I am busy with ecotourism, that's why I'm busy with education. And this is extra income to the farm.
So it's your second income. How much do you make from ecotourism and your workshops?
Well, it's vary from the year, how it is, but at least extra, like up to 40%.
What about those luxuries? Can you go on holiday?
That's an interesting question. You know, I think I don't go for holiday. I think I maybe already like at least 10 years in classic meaning of the words of holiday. If I go, I want to learn something more about life of the other people. So it is very much hands-on holiday. Exactly the same what we propose here for the people.
As well as having tourists stay at the farm, JADWIGA runs workshops for children and other farmers to keep traditional skills alive.
All workshop is for this, to show them that from where, for example, is coming flour, and then what we can do from flour. So you can make cookies, you can make bread, and so on. This is a very traditional handicraft from this region. And the farmers also are painting them in very particular way. And this is the way of additional income which farmers are getting.
So they sell this as, and I'm sure they do
Yes.
a better job than I've done, but they sell this as to tourists?
Yes, they sell this to tourists. It's for me break and pleasure to go to work with the animals and with the soil. I really like it. When I go to the city for some conference and meeting, and when I coming back here, I feel, oh, I am in paradise.
Krakow's network of trams clatter their way through these streets, bringing workers from the less expensive outskirts into the city centre. Trams have been part of this city for more than a century. Around 500,000 journeys are taken every single day.
Maria WIERZBANOWSKA has been driving trams for over 3 years. Her rented flat is close to the tram terminal, so she can walk to work. She's one of 70 female tram drivers at the depot, which employs more than 400 drivers.
Since I was a child, I was always interested in other modes of transport. It was hard to find work after university, where I studied marketing and management. So after applying to various firms, my application to be a tram driver was accepted. It's like learning to drive a car. We have around 60 hours of lessons, then you take an exam just like a normal driving test.
So tell me about your working day. What time do you start?
The earliest I start work is around 4 in the morning. If it's an afternoon shift, I start at around midday or 2 o'clock, and I don't finish until after midnight. I work 4 days on the morning shift, then I have a day off, and I work 4 days starting in the afternoon. A standard shift lasts 10 hours, but they can vary. Some are only 4 hours long.
And what do you find difficult about the job?
The weather has a big impact on the job. In the autumn, the leaves cause a hazard. The tram is very heavy and we have to control it if it's slippery. It's very hot in the summer and cold in the winter. You spend most of your time in the same seated position, so it's crucial to stretch your legs and get your circulation flowing. Every now and again, I have to get out to physically change the track with a key if the automation doesn't work.
Maria earns around $1,200 a month, but finds it expensive living in the city and has to carefully prioritise what she spends.
I think that compared to different jobs in a similar position, I don't earn too badly. At the moment, my salary supports me, but with petrol prices going up, I wonder whether I'll be able to keep my car.
What about hobbies and holidays? What can you afford to do in your own time?
I have the type of hobbies that don't cost the earth. I ride my bike and I've recently started Nordic walking with sticks. A few times a month I treat myself to meeting up with friends for a coffee in town or a trip to the cinema, but generally I have to count the pennies. I can't afford to buy a coffee every day. Holidays abroad are practically out of the question. For me, lying on a beach is boring and visiting interesting places around the world is simply too expensive. I take advantage of a scheme at work where every 2 years the company supplements your holidays. You hand in receipts to prove you've been away and you get about $15 a day back. Most of the companies, which were once state-owned, and the larger new firms have financial packages like this.
You're on your own a lot. Does the job ever get boring or lonely?
Maybe sometimes when the weather's bad, but you need to stay focused and in control. Even if nothing is happening, something can suddenly occur which is dangerous. You need to have eyes in the back of your head. Being able to steer such a big vehicle gives me an enormous amount of pleasure.
Coming up after the break, I'll be meeting a council employee with a job for life. He works a 24-hour shift over 50 metres up there. Welcome back to Krakow in Poland, a city steeped in history and rich traditions, one of which is a job our next character has been doing for 19 years. But to meet him, there's the small issue of 239 steps to climb. Oh my gosh, that is a climb. Oh, wow.
According to legend, a trumpeter keeping watch at the top of this tower was shot through the neck by an arrow, which is why the bugle call ends so abruptly.
The bugle call dates back to 1392, when the town council paid a firefighter to keep watch across the city and sound the alarm on his trumpet if he saw a fire or enemy armies approaching. To become a trumpeter, you have to go to music school after secondary school. Then you can enter a competition where a committee picks the trumpeter who will represent the city. You then go through firefighting training. Every year we have to pass fitness and vertigo tests. Our biggest responsibility is punctuality. Exactly on the hour we start to ring the bell. Residents set their watches and shopkeepers open their stores according to our timekeeping. You could say this is tough work because we come up here for 24 hours and it's not easy to wake up every hour. The compartment is where we relax in between playing. You could say we spend a third of our lives here because we work a 24-hour shift and then we have 48 hours off. We bring food for the whole shift because with 239 steps to climb, it's not easy to pop out for a bite to eat. The tower's old. When it's freezing, it's about 5 or 6 degrees up here. We cannot get the place warm. The trumpet keys can freeze up, so we put the trumpet on the heater. Sometimes we pour a few drops of antifreeze in it.
Do you ever get bored of what you do?
Nie, bo tak naprawdę może się wydawać właśnie, że
No, to be honest, there's always something interesting happening. From here we can watch the whole city. It's as if we have the whole city in the palm of our hands. People below are always waving to us, so I get a lot of satisfaction from this.
And what can you do with the salary that you do get? Do you drive a car? Do you go on holiday?
No nie jest to jakaś taka niska pensja.
It's not a badly paid job. It's enough to live relatively comfortably, so we don't go without. From time to time I put money aside to go on holiday. In an hour and a half we can be in the Tatra Mountains skiing, so it's not far.
Music is also at the heart of Zbigniew's family life. He plays in an orchestra with his teenage son, who is keen to follow in his father's footsteps.
I'm 17 years old. I attend college, where I'm in the first year of a 4-year information technology course. I'd like to play the bugle call on top of the tower of St. Mary's Basilica. When my father retires, I'd like to take his place.
I'm very proud. It's an honour to be a trumpeter on the tower. I'm doing what I love, and when you get to do that at work, what more could you ask for?
Co chcieć więcej?
Democracy in Poland has given birth to a wave of private enterprises. This is just one day's production, 5,000 windows by a Polish company run by one of the new breed of entrepreneurs, eager to take advantage of the free market opportunities across Europe.
33-year-old MIKOŁAJ PLACEK spent 7 years learning the business from the factory floor up before taking over the company from his father in 2004.
Always my dream was to have a company which is international, yeah? Always I wanted to be a winner, yeah? Always I wanted to be the best, always I wanted what I did in the past, yeah? For example, when I played tennis, when I played football, always, for example, in football, always I played in attack, yeah? So also in a tennis, I wanted to be always the best. I wake up usually at 5 o'clock in the morning, yeah? I go and ride bicycle.
What's the reason for you to just work so hard?
Naturally, you care about the money, yeah? But the key point, yeah, is the to be the best, yeah, to be the winner, and that's it.
When Poland joined the EU in 2004, MIKOŁAJ seized the opportunity to go international. 50% of production is now exported, and he's hoping a sponsorship deal with Italian football club Inter Milan will increase his brand profile.
In Italy, the football is the religion, yeah? So, Inter Milan has 8 or 9 million of fans. So these fans are potential Okno Plus customers.
What do you like to spend your money on?
Me? I don't like to spend the money.
Like many places around the world, tourism plays a big part in this city's economy, and feeding the visitors is a lucrative business. Our final character juggles waitressing at this Krakow restaurant with the demands of further education and the dream to run her own hotel.
21-year-old Karolina KASZA is studying tourism and recreation, specialising in hotel hospitality. Her parents are paying $1,600 a year for her part-time course.
I've been renting this apartment for 7 months with 3 girlfriends who are also students. It's very close to my work and the college. I leave home at 8 in the morning and my courses last until 2 or 3 o'clock. Then I go to work for the 6 o'clock evening shift.
The money Karolina earns as a waitress goes towards her share of the rent and living cost.
I earn around $200 a month. I also get tips directly from customers. These are not included in the bill and go straight into my pocket. If I do my job properly and the customer's happy, I'll always get a 10% tip. The tips depend on the season. I can more than double my salary when it's busy in the summer, but it can be difficult to support myself in the winter months when we don't have many customers. Sometimes I have to ask my parents to help pay my rent. In the winter, I go snowboarding in the mountains with my friends to add a bit of variety to my life. They're holidays aimed at young people, so they're not too expensive. I really like my work. I have high hopes for the future. I'd like to continue to work in hotels, in a good position, of course.
It's clear from the people that we've met, the new Poland has brought with it an ethic that to work hard brings rewards. Whether it's farming, driving a tram or making windows, there's a renewed sense of pride here and a real desire to take this country forward to be a major player on the European and world stage. Far from wanting to move abroad, the people we've met are seeing the prospects for themselves and their families very much here in Poland. So from Working Lives in Krakow, goodbye.